Part 6. After Rebirth, Boss, she is beautiful and sassy. Author, Beautiful. Chapter 51. Chapter 51. The mastermind behind the scenes. Yunsu sent a message to Qin Cheng, telling him that he would leave first after the matter was resolved. As soon as she returned to the store, Yunsu took out the medicine box. "Dad, are you injured? Let me take a look." "It's okay, their few punches are not enough. Yoon Daejin has been working hard all year round and has a lot of strength, so he doesn't suffer too much. He only has a few flesh wounds on his body, which are not serious, and he doesn't want to show it in front of his daughter." Yunsu didn't ask any more questions, and made another serious note to those people in his heart. "Come, I'll give you some medicine." He turned around and said to Qingyu. Qingyu took a step back, lowered her head, and said in a tearful voice, "It's all my fault. I shouldn't have entered the kitchen unprepared." She blamed herself very much, feeling that it was because of herself that Lin Tian and the others took advantage of them. Yunsu gently wiped the tears from her eyes and said, "It doesn't matter. They are targeting us deliberately. If not this time, it will be next time." "Yes, you stupid kid, why are you taking all the blame on yourself? It's because they have bad intentions." Yoon Daejin also quickly comforted her. Yunsu dipped a cotton swab in some alcohol and applied it carefully on her face. Her skin was tender, and the redness and swelling on her face looked a bit scary. Fortunately, there was no skin rupture or bleeding. After a simple disinfection, she applied some medicine, and finally gave her some medicine. The medicine for promoting blood circulation and removing blood stasis told her to go home and rest immediately, so she didn't need to worry about it here. Yunsu was stunned. She didn't expect her father to still be thinking about this matter. "The competition doesn't matter, it's not very important to me. Dad, you don't have to ask too many questions, as long as you feel that you are doing the right thing and what you like." Yunsu didn't want to hide it from her father, but there were some things that her father would only worry about if he knew about them, so she could only introduce them briefly. "It's just a bit of a pity. After all, we have reached the finals, and the prize money is 300,000. Yunsu is going to put this debt on Lin Tian's head." Yunsu knew that Yoon Daejin had many questions in his mind. "Dad, if you have anything to ask, just ask." The more Yoon Daejin listened, the more solemn his expression became. The class of these people was beyond his cognitive scope. But when he heard that Yunsu was cooperating with the army, he was half relieved. The army would never cheat his daughter. When the child gets older, what parents can do is to support them from behind, rather than digging into them or trying to stop them. The last one, Yang Xiao, is from a competition I participated in before and I have some cooperation there. Yoon Daejin hesitated for a few times and didn't know how to speak. Everything that happened today had a great impact on him. Whether it was the people who came to frame their store or the people who showed up at the police station to help Yunsu, although he knew the specific identity, but he still recognized the officers. These people all treated Yunsu with a respectful attitude, which made it difficult for him to imagine how many things had happened to Yunsu in just 2 months. "Thank you, Dad, I have a sense of proportion and know what I am doing." Yunsu knew that her dad supported her. Yunsu spoke concisely and to the point, blurring a lot of things. The army had confidentiality regulations, so she couldn't say much. Many decorative tables and chairs in the store were smashed. Yoon Daejin closed the store and was going to find someone to do it again. At the police station, Long Changzheng personally called Yoon Suzu. They interrogated Lin Tian all night, but he did not admit that there was someone behind the scenes. They insisted that they wanted to extort money because their store was doing well, and the other two were there. Luo didn't even know what to ask. He only knew how to act according to Lin Tian's words. How do you know everyone who came to the police station today?" Yoon Daejin still asked. "How was your game?" After a while, Yoon Daejin asked this question. After everything was packed up, Yoon Daejin closed the shop and went home with Yoon Soo. The father and daughter were speechless all the way. Yoon Soo stepped forward to help. She wrote down the losses in the store and planned to settle the accounts with those people later. Secretary Lu is Secretary Lian's secretary, and you have also met Uncle Lian. Yoon Soo persuaded her to leave after hard talk, and also asked her to rest at home for a day before coming back to the store. Looking back, Yoon Daejin was already silently looking at the mess in the store. Lawyer Fu Qingting was invited to help me by a friend I met during a competition in Beijing. This is also the first time I've met him. Yoon Soo was not proud of being able to do this, but these changes were too big and caught him off guard. But he found out the relationship between him and Do Eun-hye. The two were distant cousins. This time, he gave Do Eun-hye money and asked him to nail the matter. Yoon Soo told Yoon Soo about his family's losses. Long Changzheng understood it and promised Yoon Soo that he would handle the matter well, and Do Eun-hye would also deal with it seriously. Yoon Soo hung up the phone with an expressionless expression. Yoonyan was really good at making people take all the problems on themselves and not expose her. That's right, Yoon Soo felt that the whole thing was planned by Yoonyan from beginning to end. He didn't think about such despicable methods. What he didn't expect was that she was so vicious that she wouldn't even let her own father go. After all, she was too careless, thinking that she couldn't make any waves, which gave her an opportunity to take advantage of. The matter is not over yet. Night, Yun's house. Yuntu and Yunjing haven't come back yet. Yunyan and Suzayuling are chatting in the living room, completely distracted. She held the phone tightly. Lin Tian had not contacted her for a day. Yesterday at noon, he swore to her that things were going well. She was very happy. As a result, she couldn't contact anyone at night. What happened? Could it be that they were exposed? Suzayuling saw that her thoughts were not hers, and said calmly, "Is something wrong?" Yunyan forced a smile and said, "It's okay, Mom, I'm just a little tired." "If you are tired, go back to your room and rest early." "Okay, then I'll go upstairs first." Yunyan returned to the room. She sat by the bed in the darkness without turning on the light. She dialed Lin Tian's phone again without giving up, but the phone was still turned off. The uneasy feeling in her heart became stronger and stronger. "Stop fighting, he is squatting in the police station," a faint voice sounded. "Ah, who?" Yunyan screamed, jumped up from the bed in an instant, turned on the light in a panic, and sat alone on the carved and hollow chair by the window, as if she had been waiting for her for a long time. "Yoon-soo, why are you in my room? How did you get in?" Yunyan looked at her in disbelief. How could she appear here? She subconsciously wanted to call someone, but stopped immediately. No, she couldn't let her mother know she was here. "Xiao Yan, what's wrong?" Suzayuling's confused voice came. "No, it's okay, Mom, there was a moth just now, I have already chased it away." "Okay, then you go to bed early." Suzayuling's footsteps faded away. Yunyan said calmly, "What are you here for? Are you afraid that she will know that I am coming? Or are you afraid that I will return to this home? After all, I am their real daughter, and you will be a fake your whole life." Yunsu's eyes were deep and cold. "Oh, so what? The one staying here now is me, not you," Yunyan sarcastically replied without showing any signs of weakness. "Do you know? I actually don't care about this identity at all. Originally, for Dad's sake, I didn't want to argue with you yet, but now you don't even let him go, I have nothing to worry about anymore." Yun-Su stood up and walked toward her step by step. Yunyan leaned against the door, her heart pounding. Yun-Su's every step felt like stepping on her heart. "What are you talking about? I don't understand." "Don't know." Yun-Su put his hand on her face. Yunyan's eyes were frightened and her body was shaking violently. What was she going to do? Her hand slowly moved to her neck. Without a single grip on her slender neck, Yunsu's five-finger claws pinched her neck and slowly tightened it. Under Yunsu's powerful power, Yunyan had no power to resist. She patted Yunsu's hand in vain with both hands, asking her to let go. Gradually, she felt that the air was getting thinner and thinner. It became more and more blurry, and she finally understood that Yunsu really wanted to kill her, that she was a devil, and that she was 10,000 times more terrifying. At the last moment, seeing that Yunyan was about to die, Yunsu let go of his hand, and a bright red handprint appeared on Yunyan's neck. Huh. Yunyan collapsed on the ground, breathing frantically, and her chest was fluctuating violently. Yunsu squatted down and said without any warmth in his tone, "Next time, it won't be that simple." She walked to the window and jumped up. Yunyan collapsed on the ground, still in shock. End of this chapter. After Rebirth, Boss, she is beautiful and sassy. Author, beautiful. Chapter 52. Chapter 52 Invited Experts. Yunyan knew that Lin Tian's affairs were exposed, and she didn't dare to contact him again. She was worried for several days, but as time passed and nothing happened, she knew that Lin Tian had not betrayed her, and she finally breathed a sigh of relief. After she recovered, she was filled with resentment towards Yunsu and had long forgotten the fear she felt that day. Of course Yunsu would not let her go so easily, but just such a little thing would not break her bones at all. She had 10,000 reasons to excuse herself, and she was also a minor. Yunsu wanted to be the one she cared about most. Start where you are most afraid of losing. Unmoving like a mountain, moving like thunder. Yash reopened after some renovations. Diners who had been waiting for a long time rushed into the shop eagerly. Not only was the reputation not affected, but the business was even better than before. Yang Xiao reported successfully in Lanchinj and informed Yunsu of the location of the research. Yunsu arrived at the first research institute in Lanchinj according to the location given by Yang Xiao. The location of the research institute is very hidden, and it is generally difficult to find it without someone's guidance. Yunsu walked towards the entrance of the institute at a leisurely pace. "Stop," the armed guard at the door stopped her, his eyes alert. "This is an important place for scientific research, and no idlers are allowed to approach it." Yunsu took out the ID card Yang Xiao gave her and handed it to the guard. "Here. Let someone come in right away. Forget it, I'll come out to pick him up." Yang Xiao put down what he was doing and walked out. The guard hesitantly took the magnetic card, which was the institute's unified ID card. He checked it on the ID reader. "Yang Xiao. Expert card. How can it be?" "Miss Yun, no, you are the cloud expert here, please come on, we have been waiting for you for a long time." The guard's hand shook and he almost lost his grip on the receiver. "Isn't this the project leader of the Beijing military region who just arrived recently?" "Hello, Director Yang, there is a lady here looking for you. Her name is Yunsu and she holds an identity card. Is her identity true?" Looking at the childish girl in front of him, the guard was dubious. "Is this?" The guard looked shocked. Director Yang personally picked him up. "What is this identity?" "Identity has been verified, please wait here." "Sorry, please ask your contact person to verify it." The guard took out the phone and said to Yunsu. Yang Xiao took 3 steps at a time and walked to the entrance of the research institute. He saw Yunsu leisurely as if he was out for a spring outing. They were almost getting angry here. Yes, Yunsu came to the institute as a specially invited cooperation expert. This is a great honor, and it is also a test. It depends on whether Yunsu has the ability to solidify this title and convince the public. This is our laboratory building. Our projects are carried out on the top floor of the laboratory building. Later we will go up to meet the team members and get to know them all so that we can start work. Yang Xiao introduced Yunsu as he walked. Okay, Yunsu entered the research institute for the first time in this time and space, and was a little curious. After walking around, Yunsu shook his head secretly. Compared with the Interstellar, it still felt too backward. Bang bang, Yang Xiao clapped his hands twice. Everyone, put down what you are doing and come here. In the research room on the top floor, everyone who was busy stopped what they were doing and gathered around, looking at Yang Xiaohe in confusion. The girl next to him. Girl. The girl is wearing a white coat, with lively facial features. She looks like an exquisite doll in the window. Just standing there is pleasing to the eye. Let me introduce to you, this is the specially invited expert of our project and the founder of this project. Welcome everyone. Expert. Founder. This girl. After 3 seconds of silence, everyone clapped with dull eyes, staring at the clouds as if they were alien creatures. How could it be you? A female voice screamed. Hi, long time no see. Yunsu waved her hand, like a lazy cat shaking its paws. The person speaking was Sushui, who had a relationship with Yunsu once in Huaking. At that time, she was severely slapped in the face by Yunsu. Now she almost feels PTSD when she sees Yunsu. Aren't you still in high school? Sushui was a little crazy. What? Still in high school? I thought Yunsu had a baby face, just looking small, but I didn't expect she was really young. Since everyone has doubts in their minds, let me explain to you that the cloud expert is the inventor of the project we are working on now. Everyone's job is to assist her and follow her instructions. Yang Xiao rectified Yunsu's name. His. Everyone's eyes were about to pop out. She was actually the inventor of the new drone. This world is too fantasy. Sushui was the most broken one. The last time we met, she even told her not to touch things in the laboratory. After a while, she became her immediate boss, and she almost burst into tears. The entire project includes scientific researchers, university professors, as well as outstanding graduate students and doctoral students like Sushui. After Yang Xiao introduced the team members to Yunsu, he asked Yunsu to say a few words. Everyone should know the general situation. Now I will give you 10 minutes to sort it out. There will be a meeting in 10 minutes. If you have any questions or suggestions, you can put forward any questions and suggestions. Yunsu spoke concisely and to the point, and she has always been good at business matters. Super powerful. After hearing what Yunsu said, everyone was stunned for a moment, and then they immediately realized and looked for paper, pens, and materials. They had too many questions. 10 minutes later, everyone was present. Yang Xiao sat in the deputy position of Yunsu and did not express any opinions. Yunsu, who was sitting in the main seat, seemed to be a different person. The smile on his face disappeared and his expression was serious. Everyone he straightened his back involuntarily, as seriously as a student waiting to listen. Everyone spoke enthusiastically and asked various questions. Yunsu answered everyone's questions one by one with almost no time to think. Everyone present was impressed by his rigorous logic and unconstrained ideas. After a meeting, everyone who had doubts about Yunsu gave up their thoughts. No one could say that she was not worthy of sitting in that position. Even Sushui, who had the most objections to her, saw how powerful Yunsu was. They all looked at her with stars in their eyes. Yang Xiao was simply amazed. It only took him an hour or two to convince these talented people. I have to say that this girl is not only extremely smart, but also has an incredible control over people's hearts. Horrible. After the Q&A session was completed, Yunsu divided a major item into several small items, and then divided the personnel into groups, each in charge of each item. Any progress must be reported to Yunsu. Everything is arranged in an orderly manner. In this way, their pressure is reduced, Yunsu's work is also reduced, and everyone is happy. Yunsu is in a dilemma again. Yunchinj already has a more specific game setting and worldview. Recently, he is busy designing the game scene script. Everyone in the company is keeping their feet on the ground. They are so busy that they are on their feet, but no one had any complaints because they knew they were making something of epoch-making significance. Soon, the finals of the National Olympiad Mathematics competition will begin, and Yunsu will go north again. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After Rebirth, Boss, she is beautiful and sassy. Author, beautiful. Chapter 53. Chapter 53, The Fairy Roommate. This time we went to the capital with the provincial team. Lao Li was still the accompanying teacher, and there was also Mr. Wang from Boya. The classmates in class 14 have become accustomed to Yunsu being away from school. Only Yao Shuij held her hand with tears in her eyes. Why are you leaving again? How long have you been back? Soon, I'll be back soon, Yunsu coaxed like a child. Linja did not follow Yunsu this time. His condition is much better now. He can stand for a little longer without any problem. He is even eager to take a few steps. Acupuncture has also been changed from once every 2 days to once every 10 days. Then he ran around with Yunsu. There are a total of 6 people in the provincial team, and Lanchinj accounts for 3 of them, so everyone meets up in Lanchinj and then sets off for the capital. This time I will be leaving for about a week. Yunsu made all the arrangements for Yunchinj and the institute before preparing to leave. Yunsu received news from Qinjiao before departure. He originally wanted to pick up Yunsu, but the finals were arranged by the competition organizing committee, so Qinjiao had to give up the idea. After arriving in the capital, the candidates were uniformly arranged in Huaqing, and the finals of this year were held at Huaqing University. There are 12 provincial teams in this final, with a total of 66 people. Shen Jinzu was successfully assigned to a dormitory with Yunsu. She was very excited. With Cao Shen by her side, she was not afraid of anything. There were 6 people in the dormitory. Apart from them, the others came from all over the world. Lin Shusai from Province C, Lan Xinyu and Li Yan's Huang from Province Z, both of whom were also classmates, and finally Feng Rui, a native of the capital. Huaqing has been a school for 100 years, so the dormitory assigned to them is naturally very old. Not only does it not have an elevator, but they are also on the 5th floor. Hey, when Zhou Rui was still panting, a white hand carried her box and went upstairs in a few steps. The huge box was light in her hand, as if it had no weight. Susu, why are you here? I've been waiting for you for a long time. Yunsu had just packed up her things and Shen Jinzu, who had gone to the cafeteria to get food, came back. Yunsu casually pointed to the bed at the door. You're welcome. Yunsu waved her hands coolly, entered the dormitory and unloaded the suitcase. She only brought a small bag with very few things. Okay, then I'll sleep here. Zhou Rui also moved the luggage over happily. Zhou Rui quickly followed him into the dormitory. Why are you so strong? Also, how do you know I am in this dormitory? Yunsu went to Junyu to find Bai Yuanzhou and gave a detailed account of Yunchin's current progress. Although Sulin would report to him, Yunsu wanted to talk to him face to face and listen to his opinions. There is also the last flight of stairs. Zhou Rui regrets a little. If she had known better, she would not have brought so many clothes. Who made this competition closed? I don't mind, you choose. Yunsu had just helped her, and Zhou Rui asked her to choose first. Ouch, I'm exhausted. Why doesn't this dormitory even have an elevator? A tall, pretty girl appeared at the stairs dragging a box that was almost as big as herself. She was out of breath from exhaustion, and kept complaining. Do you need help? Li Yan's Huang asked kindly. She is a typical Jiangnan girl. She speaks softly and has eyes as clear as water, as if carrying the mist of Jiangnan. This winter, it's cold by the window, and there are a lot of things happening at the door. Look there. Yunsu pointed to the door, and Zhou Rui looked over. Well, the names of the 6 people's photos were clearly posted. Although Junyu is Yunchen's second largest shareholder, Bai Yuanzhou rarely interferes in Yunchen's affairs. He almost always lets Yunsu do what he wants and provides all the support Junyu can do. After getting off the plane, Yunsu asked Lao Li for leave because she had something to do, and applied to go to Huaqing later. Lao Li also felt reassured about her, told her to keep her phone open and let her go. A few people who heard the sound came out to take a look. Lin Shusai was stunned. Wasn't he only going to stay here for half a month? Do you have so much to bring? As if you want to live here forever. You two arrived late, and we only have beds by the window and the door. Do you mind? Lin Shusai asked. I have something to deal with, isn't this coming? You, Zhou Rui was stunned. Zhou Rui looked at her little arms and legs. Let's forget it, I'm afraid your hands will break. The two talked about the current situation of Yunchenj. Bai Yuanzhou has been immersed in the shopping mall for many years and gave a lot of valuable suggestions. After sending Yunsu away, Bai Yuanzhou sat in the office and shook his head. He really didn't understand. The 5th brother obviously had a good relationship with Yunsu. Why didn't he tell her that he was the real helmsman of Junyu Group? Several people worked together to clean up the dormitory. Before it was time to gather, everyone started chatting. Hey, have you two known each other before? Zhou Rui asked Yunsu and Shenjinzu curiously. We are from the same school and we are also from the same math class. That's good. I'm the only one in our school who has made it to the finals. I don't know anyone here. Lin Shusai comes from Province C, where the people are hot-tempered, cheerful, and fast-talking. We are also in the same class. Li Yanzhuang pointed at her and Lan Xinyu. Lan Xinyu pursed her lips shyly, rarely speaking shyly, and sat quietly like a touching lily. I was in danger last time. I scored 268 points, which was 1 point more than the last one. I came, but he didn't come. Zhou Rui said proudly that she has had good luck since she was a child. What about you? How were the results in the provincial competition? Li Yanzhuang, 270. Lin Shu's words, 272. Lan Xinyu whispered sheepishly, 279. Zhou Rui slapped her on the shoulder. Good guy, that's good enough. Lan Xinyu frowned in pain and silently moved away from her. A few people looked at Yunsu and Shenjinzu, but they were the only two who said nothing. I 277, as for her. Shenjinzu pointed at Yunsu. I advise you that it is best not to know. She was afraid that her roommate would be attacked by Yunshen on the first day and become doubtful about life. Is there anything that can't be said? You can't do poorly in the exam, right? Even if you do poorly, you won't be able to come here. Of all the people, Zhou Rui was most interested in Yunsu. Yunsu was about to speak. Let me tell you, Shenjinzu spoke first, the boss must have his cards. Let me ask you, what is the total score in the provincial competition? A few people looked at her doubtfully. 300, are you stupid in doing the questions? Lin Shusai laughed. Yes. She, Yunshen, is 300, Shenjinzu pointed at Yunsu, introduced her to Yurong Yan, and then gloated at everyone's reaction. 300. 300. Lin Shusai's laughter stopped suddenly. Lan Xinyu and Li Yanzhuang opened their mouths in shock. Zhou Rui had already knelt down. Boss, please cover me. Zhou Rui's eyes were filled with stars, and he wished he could give Yunsu a few nods. She said that Yunsu's temperament was unusual. He looked like he was getting close to people, but in fact he was like the bright moon in the sky, unattainable. Yunsu didn't know whether to laugh or cry, so he helped her up. This girl was really a living treasure. The remaining people had expressions of awe on their faces. It turned out that the real master was in their dormitory. After some small talk, it was time to gather. The finals of the mathematics competition were also called winter camps. the opening ceremony was held in the auditorium of Woking. The scale of the finals is huge. Although there are only 66 candidates, the coaches of the winter camp are well established. The half-month winter camp is divided into two parts. The first week or so is the study and test stage, and the last 2 days are the real competition. It's time for the finals, but not everyone can stay until the end. Someone will be eliminated every day. The top 5 in the finals will form a national team to compete in IMO, the International Mathematical Olympiad competition. Su Huajing, the president of Woking University, personally delivered a speech at the opening ceremony. With his sincere encouragement, the winter camp officially opened. End of this chapter. After Rebirth, Boss, she is beautiful and sassy. Author, beautiful. Chapter 54. Chapter 54. The Joe brothers and sisters. After the opening ceremony, everyone had a few hours of free time for them to purchase daily necessities. Except for Yunsu and local Joe Rui, the other girls came to the capital for the first time and thought excitedly. Went to eat Beijing roast duck. I know where the roast duck is delicious, Joe Rui volunteered to take everyone there. Yeah. Shenjinzu pulled Yunsu's sleeves and whispered, Susu, Li Yan asked where we are? Do you want to eat together? Joe Rui heard it with the tips of her ears, let's all eat together. There are so many people, everyone said they didn't care. Then let me ask them. Shenjinzu called Li Yan, and Li Yan agreed immediately. He and Wen Ziwan were assigned a dormitory, and he really couldn't stand him anymore. A few people made an appointment to meet at the school gate. From a distance, they saw Li Yan with a solemn face, followed by Wen Ziwan and he. Chuhe. Hey, why are you here? Shenjinzu looked at him warily. He looked awkward, why can't I come? After all, we are still on the same team. Haole, why aren't Xiaorui with your brother today? The boss asked her while he was busy. Humph, Shenjinzu looked away, obviously still remembering what Chu Hai said last time, and pulled Yunsu forward. Lan Xinyu and the others breathed a sigh of relief and let go of their psychological burden. Initially, they were worried that the store Joe Rui found would be more expensive. After all, Joe Rui was wearing famous brands and it seemed that she was from a better family. This is the restaurant I've been eating since I was a kid, and the taste is unparalleled, believe me, Joe Rui assured everyone. A few people found a private room downstairs to sit down, and ordered a few special dishes recommended by the boss. The smell of it makes people move their index fingers, and everyone can't wait to use their chopsticks. The duck meat is in your mouth, the skin is crispy, the outside is charred and the inside is tender, the taste is mellow, fat but not greasy. Everyone's eyes lit up, it was delicious. It certainly lives up to its reputation. Halfway through the meal, Yunsu received a call from Qin Xiao, and Yunsu walked outside the private room to answer it. Joe Rui shouted knowingly as soon as he walked in. He was obviously a regular customer. The roast duck is relatively large. 2 people can eat 2 for 9 people. You can also order some other dishes. Joe Rui came back soon after saying hello. The roast duck they ordered had already been sliced and served. 2 roast ducks were sliced into 4 large plates and placed on porcelain white plates. The color was bright and attractive, showing the jujube flavor. Red, this shop uses the hanging oven roasting method, using jujube wood and plum wood as fuel, and roasting over an open fire. Therefore, the roast duck smells of fruit wood. Uncle Joe, here are 2 roast ducks, slice them thinly. I'm having dinner with my classmates. Lin Shusai was busy trying to smooth things over. On the first day, no one wanted to be unhappy, and they were indeed hungry. It's in the private room upstairs. Who is on the same team as you? This is not a team battle. You guys sit down for a while and then order some other dishes. My brother is upstairs and I'll go say hello. Joe Rui turned around and told a few people and ran upstairs. Chu Hai breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, the boss was not angry. For some reason, he felt scared when he saw Yunsu now. My brother, Jorui was confused. Chuhai was extremely diligent in asking everyone to bring tea and water. He had no choice but to do it. If he didn't show off, Shenjinzu's eyes would make holes in him. As a native of the capital, Jorui is well versed in the delicacies hidden in the streets and alleys. After some twists and turns, he arrived at a roast duck restaurant in an alley, which looked like an ordinary home-cooked shop. Okay, let's go eat first. What are you doing? Qin Jiao's voice was lazy, and someone seemed to be making a little noise next to him. Qin Jiao paused for a moment. I thought you had just finished over there, and I was going to ask you to come over for dinner. Zhou Ye and Yuan Zhou are both here. If you don't say hello to me in advance when you invite me to dinner, you are not sincere, Master Wu Yunsu teased him. Qin Jiao laughed. There were countless people in the capital who wanted to have a meal with him but had no chance. This was the only one he invited personally. Only Yunsu dared to say such a thing without giving him face. Fifth brother, who are you calling? You are smiling so brightly, Yunsu heard Zhou Ye's fearless voice. You're itchy, aren't you? Qin Jiao covered the phone, but Yunsu still heard his cold voice. It's probably Miss Yun, she's come to the capital, Bai Yuan Zhou said. Hey, I was wrong. I was wrong. Susu, come and eat. We are at a roast duck restaurant. Let me tell you, this roast duck restaurant is excellent. Zhou Ye quickly apologized and shouted to Qin Jiao's mobile phone. Roast duck? No, what a coincidence. Which roast duck restaurant? Joelji, do you want to come over? It's a bit out of the way and it's not easy to find. Where are you? I'll ask Qinju to pick you up. Qin Jiao thought she was coming over and was about to tell Qinju. Yunsu looked at the huge signboard in front of him, Joelji roast duck, and was speechless. Everyone in such a big capital could meet in the same store. Wait a minute, Jorui just said that her brother is upstairs. Jorui and Zhou Ye do look like siblings. No. I'm here too. Qin Jiao was silent. Where are you? Private room downstairs. Yunsu asked, does Zhou Ye have a sister? Jorui is with you, Qin Jiao understood instantly. Well, she is my roommate. That. I'll come up and say hello later. Good. Yunsu hung up the phone and returned to the private room, sat back down, and stared at Jorui, who was eating happily next to her. What's wrong? Boss Jorui asked cautiously. Is your brother Zhou Ye? Yes, originally asked this. Wait, how do you know? Do you know my brother? I know you. I'll go up and say hello later. Okay, I'll come with you. Jorui originally wanted to ask her how she met her brother, but there were so many people now, so she would know later. The group of people ate with their mouths full of oil and were satisfied. When they went to pay the bill, before they could say anything, Jorui said directly, Uncle Joe, the account will be charged to my brother. Okay. Shenjinzu refused. How can that be done? We are all students, so AA is enough. Oh, it's okay. Just think of me as a landlord. Jorui didn't care. Otherwise, you can just invite me back in the future. I won't suffer any loss. Well, don't do this next time. After some refusal, he had to accept her kindness. Lan Xinyu's eyes flashed, and she stepped forward and took Jorui's arm affectionately. Xiaorui, I really spent a lot of money on you. Xiaorui? Jorui felt like she was getting goosebumps. She smiled dryly and pulled out her hand and said, Yunsu and I still have something to do. How about you go back to school first? Didn't they just know each other? What can happen? Did you become familiar so quickly? Lan Xinyu's eyes flickered. Li Yan looked at Yunsu with questioning eyes, and Yunsu nodded. Well, we will go back first, and you should come back early to check the bed. He gave a few words of warning. Yunsu watched them get into the car before following Zhou Rui upstairs. "Why are you here again?" Zhou Ye looked at Zhou Rui, who was smiling, and said angrily. "Then can I come?" Yunsu joked, taking a step behind Zhou Rui. Zhou Ye's face instantly smiled like a flower. "Hey, Sister Yun, you must be welcome." "No, why did you two come together?" Zhou Rui witnessed her brother's face changing stunt and felt aggrieved. "What? He is impatient with his own sister, but smiles so happily with his boss. However, why does his brother call the boss sister?" "Didn't I participate in the competition? The boss and I are roommates," Zhou Rui said. "But brother, how did you two know each other?" Zhou Ye was shocked. His first reaction was, "You can actually participate in the same competition as her." "Brother, who are you looking down on?" Zhou Rui was dissatisfied. Although she and Yunsu were two, one was a low-ranking person and the other was a perfect boss, the gap was a bit big. "What are you standing there for? Come and sit." Qin Jiao waved to Yunsu and pulled out the chair next to him. With Zhou Rui's shocked eyes, Yunsu walked over and sat down unceremoniously. "Would you like some more?" Qin Jiao also prepared bowls and chopsticks for her, and gave her a chopstick of vegetables. "No, I'm full." "Okay." Qin Jiao put the vegetables back into his bowl. Zhou Rui's pupils were shaking violently. Isn't fifth brother a germaphobe? Although the boss hasn't touched the dishes, it's not right? She had known Qin Jiao since she was a child. She was not even afraid of her brother, but she did not dare to be presumptuous in front of Qin Jiao. From the time she could remember, he seemed to be like this. His features were cold and noble, and he was as noble as a god. She had never seen him before. He is so kind to people and can be called gentle. Zhou Rui looked so confused, so Zhou Ye slapped her awake. "Why are you so stunned?" "Brother, you haven't told me yet, how do you know each other?" "It's a long story. Why do children ask so many questions?" She is a child, and Yunsu is about the same age as her. Zhou Rui's eyes were filled with anger, but he didn't dare to get angry in front of Qin Jiao. "How is Ayu doing lately?" "Last time I asked him, he said he could stand up." Zhou Ye asked. Yunsu smiled and nodded. "Yes, he has recovered well. He can stand for a long time now, but he can't wait to walk and Ling can only watch him." Bang, the cup in Zhou Rui's hand fell to the ground. "What are you talking about? Brother Ayu can stand up? How is this possible?" "He is not." Before Ling Yu completely recovered, the news that he was seeking medical treatment did not spread, and Zhou Ye did not even tell her. Introduction: your brother Ayu's doctor. Zhou Ye pointed at Yunsu and said. Zhou Rui's pupils were shaking again, and she was dumbfounded. Why did she understand every word her brother said, but she didn't know what it meant when put together? Why is big brother Yun the doctor of Ayu's brother? This world is too fantasy. Yunsu has been refreshing her knowledge all day long. It is her fault that she looks at the boss with the eyes of a mortal. Zhou Rui looked at Yunsu with worshipful eyes. "Boss, I will mess with you from now on. If you ask me to go east, I will never go west." Yunsu couldn't laugh or cry, otherwise she and Zhou Ye were brothers and sisters. They were both living treasures. They chatted for a while, and it was getting late. Yunsu and Zhou Rui got into Qin Jiao's car, and Qin Ju drove to Huaking. Haunted by Qin Jiao's strong aura, Zhou Rui didn't dare to express her anger all the way, and she admired Yunsu, who was chatting and laughing with Qin Jiao so much. Fifth brother, goodbye. Zhou Rui was extremely well behaved. Gan Yunsu waved his hand. "I'll contact you when you're done." Good. End of this chapter. After Rebirth, boss, she is beautiful and sassy. Author, beautiful. Chapter 55. Chapter 55 30 add 10. The first night of living in a top university in China, everyone was a little excited and talked about all kinds of things until late at night before going to bed. When we met the next day, Many people had dark circles under their eyes and yawned profusely. Yunsu laughed at Li Yan. You actually sleep so late. In her eyes, Li Yan was not a talkative person. I was purely disturbed by Wen Ziwan's noise and couldn't sleep. Li Yan rubbed his eyebrows, his eyes were black and filled with deep resentment. I'm not excited. Wen Ziwan felt confident even though he was not straightforward. Shen Jinzu urged, hurry up, we're going to be late. Winter mornings in Beijing are always foggy and humid. Li Yan's Huang took a deep breath of the fresh morning air and said, it's great. I wish I could always be here. Everyone looked envious. Most of the walking students coming and going were in a hurry, either going to class or on their way to the laboratory. They were mixed in, as if they were also members of walking. From today on, they will start studying in walking for more than a week. The school has allocated a large classroom for them, which can be regarded as an early experience of university life. The classroom is very big, and more than 60 people can sit down without feeling crowded. Today's class is the head coach in charge of their competition, surnamed Chen Zhirun, a senior competition coach, who has led 8 math competition winter camps so far. He walked into the classroom with a stack of test papers and glanced at every student's face. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief and became inexplicably nervous. After a while, Chen Zhirun smiled. Wen Ziwan was a little touched at first, but when he heard this, he burst out laughing. I am Chen Zhirun, your competition head coach. I know that all of you who can sit here today may have been praised, complimented, and even called geniuses by many people in the past, but here, I hope everyone will forget these, regardless of all the honors and awards you have received before have been brushed away like dust. After all, you are now in walking, and there are many people here who are dozens or hundreds of times better than you, so there is nothing to be proud of. The huge classroom was silent. After a few seconds, there was thunderous applause. When teenagers are at their most emotional, many people were moved by it. Some people put away their pride and secretly warned themselves that this was not an ordinary place. On the playing field, you must always pay attention. Shut up, no one will treat you as a mute. Shen Jinzu, who was in the front row, turned around and glared at him, and he quickly shut up. He couldn't afford to offend this ant. As expected, everyone was dumbfounded as soon as they got the test paper. They couldn't even understand the questions at all. No wonder 1 hour is enough. If you can do something you can do, you don't need an hour. If you can't do it, you can't even do it in 1 day. But it happened that someone was making a big deal out of it. Chu Hai slowly moved his head to Wen Ziwan's ear, gritted his teeth and said, he said the same thing last year. Under Chen Zhirun's oppressive gaze, everyone was immersed in reading their test papers. The classroom was so quiet that you could hear a pin drop. Okay, all past scores have been cleared. Let's take a look at your level now. Chen Zhirun changed the subject, and the words that came out of his mouth were like a devil's whisper, relax, there is only one question, and the full score is 30 points. Give me 1 hour should be enough for you, so let's do your best. Li Yan frowned, obviously stumped. He didn't write for a long time. Wen Ziwan had already put away his playful expression and turned to a serious face. In the world of mathematics, he can dive headfirst into it and concentrate on it. Zhou Rui is a girl with 2 heads and 1 head. She doubts that she has never studied mathematics, otherwise she cannot even recognize the symbols in the above questions. I want you to put aside the past and just be the purest believer in mathematics. The 10 days will pass quickly. No matter you leave in the middle or stay until the end, don't forget why you study mathematics and why you like it. Math. I wanted to see how Yunsu was doing, but there were 2 positions between her and Yunsu. Next to her were Lan Xinyu, Shen Jinzu, and Yunsu. Even if they stretched their necks, they couldn't see it. They were struggling. After a long time, she finally chose to let herself go. An hour for 1 question? There was a small wailing sound below, and you can imagine how difficult this question is. He handed out test papers next to each other. Chuhai originally thought that Chen Zhirun said the same thing as last year, and the questions he asked should be the same, but he didn't expect that the questions would be even more perverted than last year's questions. Lin Dai, who had the least presence in the provincial team like Yunsu and others, started writing quickly. Even after counting sheets of draft paper, he still couldn't come up with an answer. Yunsu's eyes showed interest. This question was a bit interesting. It was a very personal question. It should be the question asked by Coach Chen himself. Yunsu was rarely interested. He made a beautiful stroke with his finger and wrote on the test paper. Up and down. Teacher, I'm done. A boy raised his hand in the paper. Everyone heard from the well-informed Lin Shusai that this was the seed contestant in the finals, Yu Fengnian from Province Y. The first one to hand in the paper was not Yunsu. Shen Jinzu, Li Yan, and others were shocked. This surprised them even more than Yunsu's perfect score in the exam. After all, they were used to Yunsu's perversion. Suddenly she became normal and they were not used to it. Chen Zhirun took the test paper from Yu Fengnian and read 10 lines at a glance. He showed a very shallow smile and praised, "Not bad." Then he scored 20 points on the test paper. Yu Fengnian's smile froze on his face. "Teacher, I don't understand." "The answer is correct. There is a problem with the intermediate steps and there is luck involved. Let's think about it further." Chen Zhirun stopped him and said. "Okay, thank you, teacher." Yu Fengnian took a breath and walked down to continue his research. "Teacher, I'm fine too." The second-seeded player is Feng Qinwei from Province H. Like Chuhai, he won the second place in the country last year. It is said that it was because of his abnormal performance that he is an opponent that cannot be underestimated. It's okay, 25 points. Feng Qinwei also didn't get full marks. He didn't ask why. He took the paper and broke his previous thinking and thought again. Yunsu finally raised his hand, but what he said was, "Teacher, please give me another piece of scratch paper." It's over. Does even Yun Shen need scratch paper?" Shen Jinzu swore that she and Yunsu had been classmates in the mathematics competition class for so long. She had never seen Yunsu use scratch paper to solve problems. It was as if there was a supercomputer in her head, and she could tell with just one stroke what to write next. Thinking about it this way, it seemed that he couldn't do it and it wasn't something to be embarrassed about. Shen Jinzu comforted himself in his heart. Another 5 minutes passed, and more than half of an hour passed. Li Yan, Wen Ziwan, Chu Hai, and the roommates in Yunsu dormitory all handed in papers. Even Zhou Rui turned in one that he couldn't understand. After all, you still need to have a sense of participation. Yunsu finally raised her hand in the paper. She handed in the paper mixed with the draft paper. Shen Jinzu was confused. Why did Susu hand over the draft paper? This is it. Chen Zhirun flipped through the pages filled with writing in his hands, his pupils dilated little by little. Wait a minute. He put down the test paper in his hand and put on his glasses. He was mildly short-sighted, but now he felt that he might have lost his sight. Otherwise, how could he have seen the girl in front of him with 6 solutions written on the test paper? Even he, the question maker, only has 3 types. The most important thing is that at the end, Yunsu also made changes based on this question, and actually gave him a question in turn. Chen Zhirun's hands were shaking a little. He had led so many winter camps, and this was the first time someone had given him a question. But he had to admit that this question was more advanced and meaningful than his. It was simply exquisite. After a long while, he sighed and marked 30 add 10 on Yunsu's test paper. This is especially for the last question, I will do it. Yunsu nodded with satisfaction and went down with the test paper. It was no wonder that her hands were sore writing these pages. Shen Jinzu looked at the 30 add 10 on Yunsu's test paper and covered his mouth to avoid crying. Is Yun Shen not satisfied with the full score now? Awesome, Sister Yoon Jo-rui was now shouting after her brother, holding Yoon-soo's test paper. Praised as if appreciating his own. Chu-hai felt strangely comfortable. Sure enough, the boss was still a boss, and he didn't play according to common sense. When 1 hour was up, Chen's Hirun stopped. Okay, don't do anything you haven't finished yet. Let's take a 20-minute break, and we will comment on the test paper later. I would like to ask Yoon-soo to speak on this test paper. Yoon-soo, please stand up and let everyone recognize it. Who is Yoon-soo? Everyone looked around, and Yoon-soo had no choice but to stand up and accept everyone's attention. She sighed inwardly. If she had known better, she wouldn't be so high profile. Some people are confused, some are surprised, and some have collected information about provincial team members from various provinces, and an 18-magnitude earthquake breaks out in their hearts. Isn't Yoon-soo the big guy in S province who got perfect scores in the preliminary and provincial competitions? She won't get perfect marks again, right? End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After Rebirth, boss, she is beautiful and sassy. Author, beautiful. Chapter 56. Chapter 56 S Province. Yoon-soo. Yoon-soo is of course not a perfect score, she is even higher. During the break, everyone gathered around and looked at the bright red 30/10 on Yoon-soo's test paper. Everyone fell into a silence of self-doubt. Were they really doing the same question? Why can people write a few pages with great enthusiasm, but they have only one solution after thinking hard for a long time? Chen's Hirun quickly walked back to the competition office and slapped the manuscript paper in his hand on the table. Give me the information of a candidate named Yoon-soo immediately. There are 5 coaches in the coaching staff including Chen's Hirun, who are responsible for algebra, combinatorial, geometry, and number theory. They were chatting in the office. When they heard Chen's Hirun's words, they wondered, "What's wrong, Teacher Chen? I see you are in a hurry." Teacher Lee, who teaches algebra, said, "Yoon-soo, this name seems a bit familiar." "Do you know her?" Chen's Hirun asked quickly. In every winter camp, in order to ensure that he would treat all students equally, he would not look at the students' information. "Is it Yoon-soo from Province S?" Teacher Wang, who teaches combination, suddenly clapped his hands and remembered. Yes, that's her. I just said this name sounds so familiar. This little girl is not easy. She got full marks in both the preliminary round and the provincial round." Teacher Sun, who was in charge of geometry, looked at Chen's Hirun's serious expression and felt something was wrong. He picked up the piece of paper Chen's Hirun put on the table. Teacher Lee and Teacher Wan came over and said, "Let me take a look." This is for me. What if you do it? Go find her yourself." Chen's Hirun took back the paper. Chen's Hirun shook his head slowly. No one can compare to her." "Ha ha 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 ha, you still have a chance to be defeated by the students." Teacher Wang burst into laughter. Chen's Hirun smiled bitterly, but his eyes were as excited as finding a treasure. "That's right, the 6 solutions solved my problem and gave me a difficult problem." The handwriting on the manuscript paper was majestic, but they had no intention of admiring it. They just stared at the question and touched it carefully. "Hey, Lao Chen, I haven't seen you praise someone so much in so many years." Teacher Zhang, who teaches number theory, thought he was joking and said jokingly, "Why do I feel that it's a bit similar to Lao Chen's question?" This, who asked this question?" Teacher Sun's voice became unstable. "Stingy, if you're looking for her, just look for her." "It's really not a joke," Teacher Zhang murmured. He took out a pen and paper and began to calculate quickly. He is a math madman. When he sees a good problem, he will work on it day and night, forgetting sleep and food. Li Yan, who is in the same provincial team as Yoon-soo, is not bad. Lanchinge, Province S, has some good prospects this time. Do you think this looks like a class competition? Shenjinzu asked Li Yan quietly in the audience. Isn't this the question asked by the little girl? I think only Feng Qinwei can compete with her, and you Fen Nian. 20 minutes later, Yunsu stood on the stage and gave a lecture to everyone. She explained from the shallower to the deeper. Various mathematical knowledge, formulas, and theorems were readily available. Everyone was fascinated by the lecture, and they kept writing and taking notes frantically. Li Yan smiled. Indeed, this scene was extremely familiar to them. It was like the number competition class had expanded in size. It was her home court wherever she went. It just changed from Lanchinge to Beijing, from more than 20 people to more than 60 people attended. Do you understand everything? If not, I will explain it in another way. Yunsu spoke very clearly, and no one sitting here was stupid, and they all nodded to show that they understood. Even Zhou Rui understood it. She couldn't help but think that if she had been taught by a teacher like Yunsu since she was a child, she wouldn't be at the bottom of the pile. Yu Fengnian sneered in her heart. She had to admit that Yunsu was indeed a genius in mathematics, but in other aspects she was a fool. Did she think everyone would be grateful to her? Did she forget that the people sitting in the audience were rivals, not classmates who loved each other? But he would not remind her why he should stop something that was beneficial to him. Chen Zhirun's mind is now filled with that question, and he has simulated many different ideas in his mind, all of which are wrong. His evaluation of Yunsu has become even higher. The first day of classes ended quickly. Everyone was exhausted physically and mentally. Lin Shusai cried out that she was hungry and lay weakly on the table. Do you want to go to the cafeteria? In order to take care of the tastes of students from all over the country, Huaking has a total of 16 canteens, offering all 8 major cuisines, and it also considerately provides them with temporary meal cards. I'm hungry too, I'll go with you. Xiaorui, are you going? Lan Xinyu said. Zhou Rui was about to agree when Yunsu stopped her and said, Don't go. Your brother will bring food later. Her brother? Zhou Rui asked suspiciously, does her brother have such good intentions? And why didn't she know? Well, I won't go if you go. Why did Yunsu tell Zhou Rui that her brother brought her food? Even if we met last night, we wouldn't be so familiar, right? Lan Xinyu thought about Zhou Rui's dress and food and clothing expenses. Yunsu must be the same. After a few people went out, Yunsu shook his phone and said, let's go get something to eat. No, my brother would be so kind to give me food, why don't I believe it? Zhou Rui quickly followed. The two of them arrived at the school gate closest to their dormitory. This gate was relatively remote and few students came in or out. A black Bentley was parked there quietly. Hey, when did my brother buy this car? Zhou Rui asked doubtfully. The car window slowly slid down. Fifth brother Zhou Rui stuttered, why is it Qin Xiao? What? I'm not your brother. Seeing how nervous she was, Qin Xiao deliberately teased her. He was clearly fearless when he was young, but how could he become less courageous as he grew up? Yes, of course you are my brother. Zhou Rui was about to cry but had no tears. If she had known better, she would have gone to the canteen. Yunsu found it funny, how come the brothers Zhou Ye and Zhou Rui were like a mouse seeing a cat when they saw Qin Xiao? Take it, it's all your favorite food. Qin Xiao handed the food box to Yunsu. The sandalwood food box had the word Yulan engraved in small seals on it. Zhou Rui was flattered that her fifth brother actually knew what she liked to eat. In fact, Qin Xiao asked Yu Ian's people to check Zhou Rui's ordering records. There is a canteen in the school, so don't give it away next time, Yunsu said after taking the food box. Qin Xiao had already arrived in Huaking when he sent her the message, giving her no chance to refuse. Is the dignified fifth master of the Qin family so free? There is still time to deliver food. Qin Xiao is certainly not idle. The huge Qin family, Junhe Group, and other industries under his control cannot be overstated as managing everything on a day-to-day basis. After watching the two people leave, Qin Jiao leaned his head on the seat, relaxed his body and sank down, closed his eyes, and sighed inaudibly. Both Yuan Zhou and I said that he was good to Yunsu, but they had never seen him care so much about anyone. Is it because she saved Qin Cheng and Linju? No. Is it because she is smart and beautiful? It didn't seem to be the case. There were girls about her age in the family, but he only felt it was noisy. He himself didn't know the reason. End of this chapter. After Rebirth, boss, she is beautiful and sassy. Author, beautiful. Chapter 57. Chapter 57 Finalists. Yunsu and Zhou Rui returned to the dormitory and opened the food boxes. As expected, they all had their favorite dishes. Zhou Rui picked up a shrimp and eggplant box that she loved and put it into her mouth with a satisfied look on her face. After a while, several other people came back. Shen Jinzu moved his nose and sniffed. "What are you eating? It smells so good." Come on, let's eat together," Zhou Rui quickly greeted them. Li Yan's Huang quickly waved her hand. "No, we've already eaten." "It's okay, there's quite a lot, and we can't finish it." Lan Xinyu's eyes darkened when she saw the word Yulan on the sandalwood food box. She knew that this restaurant was a famous private restaurant in Beijing. If she wanted to eat there, she had to make a reservation long in advance. It only had dine-in options. She had never heard of it. They say they can also take out, but what is the identity of Zhou Rui's brother? "Wow, Xiao Yui, I've heard of this store, it's said to taste very good, can it also be taken away?" Lan Xinyu exclaimed deliberately. "Ah, my brother gave it to me. Yulan can't take it out?" I don't know, Zhou Rui had never heard of Yulan having such a rule. She said that her brother was a little guilty when he gave it to her. She knew that Qin Jiao was she came here specifically for Yunsu, she was just a casual visitor. Then your family must be very rich, most people don't have access to this kind of service. Li Yan's Huang tugged on her sleeve in embarrassment to tell her not to talk like that. "No, let's all have a try," Zhou Rui quickly changed the subject. "Wow, it's delicious." Shen Jinzu closed his eyes and enjoyed the delicious food, but, Susu, I still prefer the braised meat made in my uncle's shop. I haven't had it for several days, and I really miss it. I want it too, Zhou Rui rubbed her hands excitedly. "Susu, stretch out your hand, let me shake it and imbibe the spiritual spirit," Shen Jinzu called her nervously. "Yunsu's father makes braised food?" Lan Xinyu sneered in her heart. Is this it? Still want to catch up with Zhou Rui's brother? So what if my grades are good? The gap is like a natural chasm. Ever since Yunsu made a splash on the first day and showed her strong strength, she became a favorite in the winter camp. Everyone wanted to have a good relationship with her, and Yunsu did not hesitate to answer everyone's questions. Almost everyone agreed that she would definitely become a member of the national team. As a result, there were only 4 spots left in the national team. They were all rivals. Under the seemingly harmonious scene, there was an undercurrent surging, as if sparks were flying. "Yunshin, I want it too. Soon it will be the last assessment. There are still 38 people left. 8 people have to be eliminated at once. Everyone in Yunsu's dormitory is still alive. Now they have no other thoughts. Staying is their only thought. So far, there are only 45 people left in the winter camp, and everyone is in danger. Zhou Rui relies on Yunsu and still persists tenaciously until now. She promised Yunsu that she will give Yunsu a golden statue when she returns home. She bowed 3 times a day. Yunsu smiled, and then kicked her directly. "Okay, now that it's over I'll ask my brother to treat everyone to dinner," Zhou Rui agreed casually without thinking too much. Yunsu raised his eyes and glanced at Lan Xinyu, but said nothing. The winter in Beijing is really cold. It snowed heavily for several days in a row. The whole walking turned into a vast expanse of white. The weight of 100 years of history hit our faces. Several children from the south in the dormitory were shivering from the cold. Every day you have to muster up 120,000 courage to go to class. Xiaorui, your brother is so kind to you. I wish I had a brother like this. Let us get to know each other sometime. Lan Xinyu rolled her eyes and said. Yunsu also invited Shenjinzu to come over and eat. Shenjinzu was not polite and stepped forward to take a bite of the beef. It was soft and rotten in the mouth and the meat was fragrant. Yunsu had no choice but to stretch out his hand. Yunsu nodded her nose. Eat, go back and let you eat enough. I'll ask my dad to make more. Qin Jiao asked Qinju to send thick clothes to Yunsu. When others asked, Yunsu only said that she was a friend. Lan Xinyu was even more disdainful of her, but she was still friendly on the surface. The daily routine of the winter camp is to do questions in class, and do questions in class, and the cycle continues. There is an assessment every 3 days, and some people will be eliminated. In the end, only about 30 people will be left to participate in the finals. And I. It took Chen Zhirun 2 full days to solve the question that Yunsu asked him before he got the final answer. He felt relieved. He couldn't bear to be stumped by the student's question for so long. At the same time, he felt sad. Yunsu, he is the kind of person who is born to be chased and fed by God. By now, Chen Zhirun has a very clear understanding of everyone's level. Yunsu is naturally the undeniable leader. Yuki Jueshan is far away from everyone. Apart from her, Li Yan, Wen Ziwan, Chu Hai, and Yu, the strength of Fen Nian and Feng Qinwei cannot be underestimated. Really? I knew you were the best to me, Shenjinzu said in surprise. There was a commotion in the classroom, and everyone came forward to shake hands with Yunsu, hoping that the of learning would bless him. It's ridiculous. If you have the time, you might as well read 2 more questions. Yu Fen Nian only found this picture dazzling. Feng Qin glanced at him slightly and stood up slowly. I'll shake it too. Yu Fen Nian was speechless. Why was he acting stupid too? Okay, everyone, sit down and start curling your hair. Chen Zhirun walked into the classroom with a smile in his eyes. A set of papers with 8 questions. 2.5 hours passed quickly. In order to save time, Chen Zhirun and several other teachers started marking the papers as soon as the exam was over. Everyone was waiting in the classroom with heavy hearts and uneasiness. Zhou Rui wrung her fingers nervously, and Yunsu comforted her. It's okay. Today's questions are not difficult. I have told you many of them before. Is there any difficult question for you? Zhou Rui looked at her resentfully. Well. Chen Zhirun walked into the classroom, and the classroom instantly became quiet. He did not read the score and directly unfolded the paper in his hand. On it was the list of people who could stay this time. Everyone held their breath, waiting for the verdict. The finalists for this National Olympiad Mathematics competition are Yunsu, Feng Qinwei, Yu Fen Nian, Li Yanzhuang, Li Yan, Wen Ziwan, Chu Hai. Every time he read a name, it meant a lack of opportunity, and Zhou Rui's heart almost rose to his throat. Lin Dai, Qin Lanfang, Wu Di, Lin Shusai, Zhou Rui. After reading the last name, Chen Zhirun walked out of the classroom, leaving time for everyone to calm down. There was a small sound of sobbing in the classroom, and everyone felt uncomfortable. I'm in, Zhou Rui screamed softly, holding Yunsu's shoulders and shaking her. Sister Yun, I really love you to death. Yunsu was so shaken that she felt dizzy. Okay. Lan Xinyu's face turned pale and her body was trembling slightly. Why is there no my name? How could I not have entered? Is it because I haven't finished reading? I'm going to ask the teacher. Li Yanzhuang couldn't bear it and felt sorry for her. Xinyu, it's okay. We are only in the 2nd year of high school. We still have a chance next year and we will fight again next year. Next year? I will be a senior in high school next year. How do you want me to choose between the competition and the college entrance examination? Can I afford this risk? Lan Xinyu's eyes turned red. Zhou has already entered, how could I not have entered? No, I don't believe it, I must ask teacher Chen. She stood up and was about to go find Chen's Hirun. Yunsu said calmly, why don't you believe it? Why do you think Zhou is inferior to you? Or do you think she should be eliminated in your heart? Lan Xinyu was startled and immediately turned to look at Zhou. Sure enough, Zhou face was not very good looking. She said with difficulty, I'm sorry, Xiaorui, I didn't mean that, I just... I know Zhou interrupted her, it's understandable. You can go find the teacher and convince everyone. I'll go and ask. Lan Xinyu went out after all. What's wrong? Chen's Hirun was discussing the final list with other teachers in the office when he saw Lan Xinyu walking in with red eyes. Teacher Chen, I want to take a look at the results again. I think I performed pretty well this time. Chen's Hirun understood what she meant and said nothing. He handed her a stack of test papers on the table and said, read it yourself. Thank you, teacher. Lan Xinyu took it and started flipping through it quickly. The test papers were sorted by their scores. The first one was from Yunsu, and it was full marks again. She glanced at it with jealous eyes, and then she scrolled down. Soon she found her test paper, which was on the 31st page. Her hands trembled, and she was only 1 point behind the first place. Teacher Chen, can you give me another chance? I'm only 1 point short. Lan Xinyu couldn't control it and started crying. No. Chen's Hirun pulled a piece of paper for her, his movements were gentle, but his words were ruthless. If everyone is like this, then what is the meaning of the game? It doesn't matter if you lose this time, just keep working hard next time. Keep it up. To put it lightly, in her senior year of high school, there was no chance for her to start all over again. Lan Xinyu left the office crying, and Chen's Hirun let out a long sigh. There are students like this every year who are unwilling to accept the results, but so what if they are unwilling? The outcome has been decided and it cannot be repeated. Mathematics is the fairest thing. Right is right and wrong is wrong. There is no middle line and everything is clear. End of this chapter. After Rebirth, boss, she is beautiful and sassy. Author, beautiful. Chapter 58. Chapter 58 Gold Medal Winner. I'm sorry, Zhou. Xinyu was too excited just now and her tone of voice was bad. Don't mind. I'll apologize to you on her behalf. After returning to the dormitory, Li Yanzhuang spoke cautiously. Zhou paused while turning the book. It doesn't matter. She was careless, but not unsighted. She understood the meaning of what Lan Xinyu just said. Shen Jinzu felt indignant for her. You can't do this even if you're in a bad mood. Everyone can see how hard Zhou works, how can she say such things? Li Yanzhuang didn't know how to explain it to her, and the atmosphere in the dormitory suddenly felt strange. Not long after, Lan Xinyu came back with a blank look in his eyes. Everyone exchanged glances, but no one spoke. She sat for a long time, then stood up and packed her things silently. Li Yanzhuang stepped forward to help, but she brushed it away with one hand. Leave her alone. Shen Jinzu pulled Li Yanzhuang away. Lan Xinyu didn't bring many things with her, so she packed them quickly. When she walked out of the door, she spoke, if I were like you, with a smart head or a rich family background, I wouldn't be able to do it now. If I can leave, I am inferior to others after all. Yunsu sneered and put the German book in his hand heavily on the table. You are indeed inferior to others in everything. Shu Si can stay because she is studying the questions while you are following the drama, and Yan Zhuang can stay because she spent time in the library day and night when you were getting close to your seniors. Shen Jinzu stayed because she analyzed various question types when you asked about various gossips. Zhou stayed because she was there for you. When I was tinkering with all kinds of things, I asked people everywhere for advice. As for why I can stay, do I need to tell you? What, did I say something wrong? On the first day she came here, she couldn't wait to meet Jorui's brother. Who would believe her if she said she had no idea? Lanzinyu was about to leave anyway, and Lanzinyu immediately broke up with her. Humph! Lanzinyu carried her luggage and walked out of the dormitory door, her back straight. This was her last stubbornness. This is too much, Shenjinzu wanted to rush up and scratch her. Why did Xinyu become like this? She wasn't like this before. Li Yanzhuan couldn't accept it. Early in the morning, Chen's Hirun and the teachers selected from each provincial team formed a temporary leadership team and headed for Miaofeng Mountain with 30 students. There are still 2 days before the finals. Seeing that everyone is too nervous, the group examination committee decided to take everyone out to relax and relieve the tension. You don't want to repent, but you still blame yourself for not being born in the right child. I feel really sad for your parents. Don't worry about it, you'll have a smooth journey, don't give me away. Jorui's face was expressionless. Not before? Do you really know her? Yunsu asked. Yunsu's eloquent words made everyone dumbfounded. Lanzinyu's face turned red and white at the words, and a sense of humiliation came to her heart. She said without hesitation, "What about you? What are you so awesome about? Yes, so what if you have good grades? Why don't you go and lick Jorui? It's a dream to get into someone like them who sells braised food." Miaofeng Mountain is a majestic mountain with 5 peaks and lush trees. A large group of people started to climb up from the foot of the mountain. Li Yanzhuang looked at her in disbelief. What are you talking about? The continuous snow in the past few days has melted away. Although it was cold, everyone still broke out in a light sweat while exercising. Why can't I escape mountain climbing even when I come to compete? Jorui Hung has no love. She has been sick from climbing mountains with her father since she was a child. Miaofeng Mountain is also very familiar to her. Jorui looked at her like she was an idiot. First of all, she has known my brother for a long time. Secondly, she doesn't have to come to our house, but we can't wait to come to her. Finally, you are stupid and have dirty thoughts. Don't think that everyone is with you same. For most non-local students, it is a scenery they have never seen before. There are many varieties of flowers in Miaofeng Mountain, but unfortunately it is the middle of winter and has already passed the flowering period. After Lanzinyu left, the atmosphere in the dormitory became a bit solemn. Li Yanzhuang was speechless. Zhou's father was in the army, and Jorui grew up in a military camp. When she became serious, she exuded an intimidating aura of a soldier. Lanzinyu was shocked, but she still said stubbornly, "If you want to excuse her, of course you say so. It's up to you, I just advise you not to lead the wolf into the house." Finally, I decided to go mountain climbing, and settled on Miaofeng Mountain in the western suburbs of Beijing. Miaofeng Mountain has always been famous for its ancient temples, wonderful pines, strange rocks and exotic flowers. The most beautiful scenery comes around mid-June, when thousands of acres of rose gardens are in full bloom, covering the mountains and plains. It's so beautiful, Jorui told everyone. Everyone felt sorry that there were many ancient temples on the mountain. According to Jorui, the most effective one was to seek a child. Everyone joked that they were seeking fame and could gods talk to each other. Then it's better to worship our cloud god. Shenjinzu rolled his eyes and everyone burst into laughter. Miaofeng Mountain is about 1,300 meters above sea level. We climbed to the top in about 3 hours. We were panting from exhaustion. Breathing the air on the top of the mountain, we suddenly felt relaxed. The trip to Miaofeng Mountain made everyone feel a little relieved. 1 day later, the finals arrived as scheduled. The finals are also divided into Test 1 and Test 2, but the number of questions and scores have changed slightly this year. There are only 6 questions in total, but they are divided into 2 days. There are 3 questions every day, 4.5 hours each time, and each question is worth 21 points. With a full score of 126 points. There are national first, second, and third prizes respectively, that is, gold, silver and bronze medals. The top 5 make up the national team. Although most people dare not think about the top 5, as long as they get to the national second and higher, they will almost always have it. Those who are recommended to Hwaking University and Peking University will also have admission policies with reduced scores or be favored by other key universities. Everyone worked hard and wanted to give their best performance. The 2-day exam passed quickly. No matter what, the outcome was decided, and there was no way to continue to struggle. The group examination meeting will mark the papers urgently and hold a meeting to review the candidates' ranking and the selection of the national team. If there is no objection, it will be announced on the next day. The people in Yunsu dormitory went out to have a nice meal and chatted until late at night like they did on the first day they came to Hwaking. This was their last night here, and they couldn't help but feel a little sad. Yunshin, you must come to the capital to study at university, Zhou Rui said to Yunsu tirelessly. Li Yanzhuang smiled, Yunsu can go anywhere at her level unless others ask her to go. That's true. In China, there are only Hwaking University and Peking University. If I don't get a grade reduction, the hard test will be really difficult, Zhou Rui was worried. Be confident, I taught you. Yunsu couldn't see her feeling discouraged. Okay, Zhou Rui had confidence again. She didn't believe in herself, but in Yunsu. Early on the morning of the second day, everyone packed their luggage and then went to the auditorium to attend the award ceremony and closing ceremony. The first was the award ceremony. No one expected that physicist Meng Huai would deliver the speech and award the award in person. The gray-haired academician Meng stood on the stage and spoke in a voice that had experienced years of precipitation. Dear candidates and students, I am Meng Huai. Many people may know my name and my deeds, but what I want to say today is not that. I just want to talk about my path to study. 40 years ago, when I came to Hwaking, the learning environment was not what it is now. Now that my fame has faded away, I am still willing to be the most loyal supporter of science, and I hope you will be the same. I sincerely wish you all, thank you. Meng Huai, with eyes as clear as a child, bowed deeply to the audience. Everyone did not dare to accept the bow, so they immediately stood up and bowed in return. The style of the country's scholars makes people look up to the mountains. Meng Huai straightened up and looked at Yunsu from a distance. He blinked. Yunsu also smiled, lowered his head and gently wiped the corners of his eyes. Then comes the award ceremony, which everyone is most nervous and looking forward to. There is no doubt that the first place is Yunsu, with an undisputed perfect score, far away from everyone, and no one doubts it. She walked onto the stage, bent down, and Meng Huai hung the gold medal around her neck with a smile. Thanks. You are great, this is your honor. The award ceremony was carried out in intense and orderly manner. There were 5 members of the national team, who were the default members of the national team. Except for Yunsu, they were Li Yan, Feng Qinwei, and Li Yanzhuang. The last one turned out to be Chu Hai. He was almost going crazy with joy, laughing so wildly that Wen Ziwan gritted his teeth, wanting to punch him. Some people are happy and others are worried. The popular seed player Yu Fengnian only got the second place in the national championship. He shook his head wildly and couldn't believe this fact at all. Others who also won the second grade in national were very satisfied, especially Zhou Rui. After receiving the award from the stage, she hugged Yunsu without letting go and giggled non-stop. She could already imagine her family being shocked when she took the award back. Expression. Shen Jinzhu also won the second grade in the national level. Although it is a bit regretful, she is very satisfied. Anyway, she is only in the first year of high school and can compete again next year. There are 3 people from Lanchinge number 1 middle school, 2 from the first grade of the country and 1 from the second grade of the country. What is the concept of this result? Lao Li never dared to do this in his dreams. He tried his best not to laugh, fearing that the jealous eyes of teachers from other schools next to him would kill him. At the end of the award ceremony, Hwaking President Su Huajing gave a concluding speech for the competition. After the successful completion, this mathematics competition came to an end. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After Rebirth, Boss, she is beautiful and sassy. Author, beautiful. Chapter 59. Chapter 59, Give Up the Walk. Although the competition is over, for many students now is the highlight. As soon as the closing ceremony is over, there will be meetings with various universities. The long-awaited admissions teachers from each university are ready to make a move. As early as yesterday, before the results came out, admissions teachers from various universities rushed to Hwaking. They were well informed and learned about Yunsu's various performances, and they were the focus of attention. Sure enough, Yunsu lived up to expectations and won the gold medal with full marks and became a member of the national team. At this time, they looked at Yunsu's green light. The hungry wolf just wanted to pounce on him alive. Classmate Yunsu, we meet again. It turned out to be Professor Wang from the last National Science and Technology Creation Competition. He smiled kindly and looked at Yunsu. Can we chat? Huaqing deliberately asked Professor Wang to come in contact with Yunsu. After all, he was not a stranger. He was relatively familiar with Yunsu. It was not easy for Yunsu to refuse. Professor Wang was also happy to be this lobbyist. He was a talent-loving person. Yunsu's talent can be said to be rare in decades. He said it tactfully, not wanting to be too purposeful, but someone jumped out to intercept him. Professor Wang, this is not right. Yunsu students have stayed in Hwaking University for so long. You can also visit our Peking University. The scenery of our Peking University is no worse than that of your Huaqing University. Sun Yu, director of the admissions office of Peking University. No fear at all, even if the opponent is a long-established master, it is impossible to take a step back when it comes to robbing people. Peking University and Hwaking University have never been easy to deal with. As the 2 top universities in China, they are close to each other, but they have always been like a king without a king. Yunsu students are destined to be with us at Hwaking. It is definitely more comfortable to study in a familiar environment. We at Hwaking can promise to exempt Yunsu students from all university fees at this time. Professor Wang did not care about being tactful. Sun Yu chuckled lightly. I believe that Yunsu is a person with a challenging spirit, and you at Hwaking don't have much of a comfort zone. Besides, isn't it the most basic thing to waive fees? It's worth mentioning that we Peking University has the #1 mathematics department in the country and can provide Yunsu students with all kinds of study help. I believe Yunsu students know how to choose. Sun Yu looked at Yunsu with earnest eyes at the last sentence. Other universities are not to be outdone and have extended olive branches. Do you want to go to university abroad? Professor Wang looked nervous. Yunsu looked at the scene where the usually polite teachers were blushing and thick-necked with anxiety, and couldn't laugh or cry. Teachers, listen to me. Suddenly, all the teachers looked at her expectantly. Although Yunchinj has just started, she believes that it will develop rapidly once it is launched. By then, the company's focus will definitely be in Beijing. Lanchinj still has limitations. Yunsu has her own considerations. If she is recommended, although her studies in the 2nd and 3rd years of high school will not be important, she still has to wait until her 3rd year of high school to pass the joint entrance examination before she can get her high school diploma and enter university. For her, the timeline is too long. If things go well, she will apply to the school to skip a grade, take the college entrance examination, and go to college early. We at HUST can apply for a bachelor's, master's and doctoral program for Yunsu students. That's good, Mr. Yun, you can think about it again, and we will reserve a spot for you. Sun Yu breathed a sigh of relief. Although they didn't win, they didn't lose either, and they still had a chance. This is too crazy. Not only other students are envious, but teachers from other universities are also disappointed. It's not that the top 5 schools in the country don't have the courage to join Yunsu and ask for trouble. That's not true, I will still go to university in China. Yunsu gave everyone an affirmative answer. We at Nanjing University can give you a full scholarship. I have no plans to accept the invitation from any school yet, so I can only thank everyone for their kindness. You can choose from all the majors at Jiangsu University. He and Professor Wang looked at each other, Then they both rushed to the next student, and the 5 people who won the gold medal were all the ones they were competing for. In the end, apart from Yunsu, Li Yan and Li Yan's Huang accepted Huaqing's application for admission, while Chu Hai and Feng Qinwei agreed to Peking University. Although Chu Hai really wanted to go to Huaqing with Li Yan and others, what he always wanted to go to was the Department of Biology. Peking University promised that he could choose any major. Shen Jinzu received an application for admission to HUST, but she still wanted to go to Huaqing. With her grades, she was very sure of getting into Huaqing when she took the college entrance examination, so she rejected HUST after careful consideration. Zhou Rui knew that Yunsu had no other options except Qingbei. In order to be in the same school as Yunsu, she gritted her teeth and rejected the invitations from other schools and accepted Huaqing's score reduction policy of 60 points. She didn't believe it. Can you still fail the exam? Although this period of time was indeed very difficult and tiring, fortunately, everyone achieved a satisfactory result. Although the candidates for the national team have been confirmed, the IMO will still be held in May next year, which is still a long time. They will not be called together for training until March. After the agreement was signed, Yunsu and his party flew back to Lanqing before they could see Qingjiao again. This was the longest time they had been away since living with her father again. Yun Daijin felt a little disappointed, although he knew as my daughter grows older, it becomes more and more of a journey, but it's still hard to accept. Qingyu has fully adapted to working in Yash and is not as restrained as before. After the last incident, Long Changzheng specifically asked the police officers patrolling outside to pay more attention to Nanwei Street, and Qingyu no longer has to worry about it. Going to school on the second day after returning home, the banners were changed again at the school gate. Congratulations to 2 students from our school, Yunsu and Li Yan, for winning the national gold medal in the National Olympiad Mathematics competition. Congratulations to our school student Shen Jinzu. Tisk, how can I be associated with Yun Shen? Shen Jinzu was overjoyed. Yunsu was pleasantly surprised that the school gave out a generous bonus this time. Although it was only 10,000 yuan, no matter how small a mosquito was, it was still meat. Lao Li was speechless looking at her happy expression. He had never seen her so excited when she won the prize. He finally knew the reason why she ran to participate in the science and technology creation competition instead of wanting to participate in the math competition. She just wanted to run. Go for that bonus. Yunsu went home and gave the bonus directly to Yun Daijin, making him happy. For Yun Daijin, no matter how much money Yunsu made elsewhere, nothing would make him happier than this. Yun Daijin hung a sign at the door of the store the next day. If my daughter wins the prize, she will receive a 20% discount. Although Yunsu felt a little embarrassed, seeing Yun Daijin's happy expression, he let him go. Hey, boss, you're in such a good mood today, what award did your daughter win? An old customer who came to buy braised food said jokingly, looking at the sign at the door. Apart from the boss's craftsmanship, the second most famous thing about Yash store is the boss's daughter. He talks about his daughter every day. Today he took the first grade in the exam and tomorrow he will get a perfect score in the English competition. Regular customers like them will hear it. Cocooned. My daughter, she won the gold medal in the National Olympiad Mathematics competition, and she still got perfect marks. Hey, that's really amazing, it must be this one. The old customer was surprised and gave a thumbs up in praise. He is a retired old teacher, so he naturally understands the value of this award better than Yoon Daejin. He can get full marks in this competition. It is not an exaggeration to say that he is a genius. If he has a granddaughter like this, he would like the whole world to know about his granddaughter. How smart. Boss, you are so lucky. The guest sighed. Yoon Daejin smiled honestly, it doesn't matter whether I am blessed or not. What is important is that she is happy. I have no requirements for her. That's true, which parent doesn't want that? The guest took the braised food and walked away leisurely. The afterglow of the setting sun stretched people's shadows very long, and the stew pot in the store was still bubbling, and the aroma spread far away. Soon, the next diner was welcomed. End of this chapter. After Rebirth, Boss, she is beautiful and sassy. Author, beautiful. Chapter 60. Chapter 60 is trending. Yu Xiao is a pet blogger on Weibo. His Weibo ID is Xiao is a meow. He has a cat named Xiao. His cute appearance has attracted many cats. The slave moans, cats every day, and has millions of fans. In addition to posting about Mao Mao's daily routine, he also occasionally posts some interesting jokes on the internet. That night, when Yu Xiao was browsing Weibo to find materials, he accidentally came across the official blog of the National Olympiad Mathematics competition. Holy shit, this is a bit outrageous. Her fingertips rested on the Weibo post for the competition awards. The screen holds a gold medal in her hand, has bright eyes and a smile as bright as a flower, and the young man's brows are full of high spirits. After searching for the value of this competition, Yu Xiao cried, why would someone be so good looking and so smart? It's so outrageous. No, we can't let her be alone. Yu Xiao quickly clicked 3 times in succession, and retweeted and commented. Xiao is a meow, is this a full-level human? I'm so sore, woo woo woo. National Olympiad Mathematics Competition, congratulations to Yunsu students from Lanchinge No. 1 Middle School in S Province for winning the gold medal in the National Olympiad Mathematics Competition with perfect scores. Although it was almost late at night, there were still many netizens surfing the internet. Fans of Yu Xiao quickly noticed this Weibo post and commented and forwarded it. Favorite Xiao meow, is this appearance real? 1 inch of lovesickness. Mom asked me why I was kneeling down to play on the computer. Lanyu, within 5 minutes, I want to know all her information. Ugly people read more, the point is that she still gets full marks. Are you a human? Yunsu No. 1 Middle School in Lanchinge, S Province. Li Yan from Lanchinge No. 1 Middle School in S Province. Pinch the little rice ball, the one upstairs. It's probably not too late to practice the trumpet now. Nian Qing, don't leave upstairs, hand over the boss's Weibo. Crispy Duck, didn't anyone pay attention to who gave her the award? Meng Hui, the master of physics. This physics dog is sour and turns into lemon essence. Aya, has the person upstairs graduated from primary school? Please search this game yourself and then let me know. Yu Xiao's Weibo was quickly retweeted by many big verses. In addition to Yunsu, the award-winning Weibos of Li Yan and others were also revealed. The official competition blog with few fans flooded in with a large number of netizens. Comments were forwarded like crazy. Gold medal winner with perfect scores in the National Olympiad Mathematics competition. Ivory Mountain No. 1 ace, can I say that my teacher has also participated in this competition? He didn't even make it to the finals. Countless netizens went in curiously and then came out on their knees. Various news about Yunsu quickly fermented on the internet, with multiple topics occupying the hot search list and rising all the way. Iffiuseless, isn't it just a competition? Not to the point, cut it. Sakuramaru Komomo, I'm back from Beidou. The National Olympiad Mathematics Competition is the highest level, most difficult and most influential mathematics competition in the country. You're welcome. Iffier will not change your name until you are in the top 10 of your grade. Ah. Isn't this the god of clouds? My goddess. Proud face. JPG. Employers Nuwa, those idiots are coming to me again to demand an explanation. The savvy netizens have dug up the news about the previous National Science and Technology Creation Competition. Junya Group sponsored it, Meng Huai presented awards, and many experts and scholars participated in the competition, but this high school girl came out on top. This world is too fantasy. Deep sea, looking at my son playing games next to me, I silently picked up the slippers. Amazing looks, immortal mind. Meowing, human evolution did not take me with it. Sorry, I have no plans to develop into the entertainment industry. Sorry, I don't like acting and I can't sing. Throughout the morning, Yunsu received at least 7 or 8 calls, all of them from agents claiming to be from some entertainment company, saying that they could package her in all aspects and make her famous quickly. Yao Shuij saw her confused look and asked, "You don't know that you are popular, do you?" "What's the fire?" Yao Shuij was speechless. He took out his mobile phone and opened Weibo. He pointed at the hot search terms and said, "Here, I've been hanging on it for a day. It's not just you. Our school has become famous this time. Director Lee, I was so happy this morning. Why don't you register a Weibo? Many netizens are squatting on you. Just respond." Yao Shuij knew the attributes of the Yunsu mountain cave people, so he took her mobile phone without any explanation and registered it in 2 or 2. "Just post on Weibo, remember to forward it to the official blog." "Okay," Yunsu sent a casual message. Asusu 2121, I am Yunsu. National Olympiad Mathematics Competition, congratulations to Yunsu students from Lanchinj No. 1 Middle School in S Province for winning the gold medal in the National Olympiad Mathematics Competition with perfect scores. The names were chosen randomly, and because there were some with the same name, a few numbers were added at the end, which looked like fake names. However, after the official blog of the competition was certified, all the netizens who were looking for the name got involved. The number of followers on Yunsu's account increased crazily, and even mobile phones with good performance were stuck. Yunsu had a headache, so he quit and ignored it. In the garden of the Yun family villa, the weather was good today. It was a rare sunny day in winter and the sun was shining brightly. Suzayuling made an appointment with several wealthy ladies to have afternoon tea together. "Everyone, please try it. This is the black tea my husband brought back from his last business trip abroad." Suzayuling held the tea set and poured tea for several people. Retro ornate European-style teacup with complex patterns on it, infused with black tea. The soup is deep red and slightly brown in color, with a faint aroma of malt and rose. The taste is slightly strong and a little astringent in the mouth, which just relieves the sweetness of the pastries. Mrs. Yun's life is really enjoyable. How can we have such enjoyment? A beautiful woman put down her teacup and praised. That's not true. Mr. Yun's career is developing so well and his 3 children are so successful, it's really enviable. Yes, my child said that your family won another prize in the Yunsu competition. It was a national gold medal, and it still had full marks. A lady looked at Suzayuling, her child was also studying in No. 1 middle school. She looked envious. If my child could be so ambitious, I would wake up laughing in my dreams. Suzayuling had a reluctant expression and tried her best not to appear strange. It's just a prize in a competition, it's no big deal. She had no idea what competition Yunsu participated in. Yunsu had already been introduced at the banquet that day. Although the child was returned now, they still didn't know how to announce it to the outside world, so they simply kept silent. Now that Yunsu was mentioned, she could only agree. Mrs. Wang looked at her in surprise. Is it just a prize? I told you not to have too high demands on your child. I heard that Huaqing University and Beijing University are vying to send her. What? Really? Su Ziyuling couldn't hold the cup steady and asked hurriedly. What is the concept of being recommended by Huaqing University and Beijing University? Of course it's true, but didn't she refuse? Mrs. Wang looked at her suspiciously. Don't you know? Refused. Rejected the recommendation places from Huaqing and Beijing University? Su Ziyuling almost couldn't breathe. How could Yunsu reject these two top schools? The expression on her face was so shocked that everyone stared at her strangely. Su Ziyuling managed to calm down and forced out a smile. This child is so independent. We are very confident about her studies and rarely interfere with her. Then she still has to take good care of her, and she can't just leave everything to her whim. Even if she wanted to take care of it now, she couldn't. Su Ziyuling felt bitter in her heart, and an uncontrollable thought came to her mind. Did they do something wrong in the first place? Yunsu should not be impulsively allowed to return to Yoondaejeon. A few people started talking about the new clothes from this company, the jewelry from that company, and the gossip of the wealthy family, but Su Ziyuling always seemed absent-minded. In the evening, Yuntu came back from socializing and entered the bedroom. Su Ziyuling sat on the bed with a worried look on her face. Yuntu tugged on his tie and took off his suit. His brows were tired and he asked, "Why aren't you sleeping yet? Come here, I'll tell you something." Su Ziyuling told him the news about Yunsu that she heard in the afternoon. "Husband, do you think we did something wrong?" Yuntu's expression changed again and again. He was silent for a long time and then said, "I have said what I said before, are you regretting it now? Then, we just don't care? Look at her, she can even refuse a recommendation. I really don't know how Yoondaejeon can take care of this child." Su Ziyuling's heart ached when she said this. No matter how many people begged her, she couldn't get it. Those who came were turned away by her. Find a time to meet Yunsu, tell her about the escort, and give her some money. Think about how living with Yoondaejeon will not be so good. After all, she is our biological child. After all, her blood is thick. Yushui, if you want to take her back, don't be in a hurry, take your time, that child has a very stubborn temper, Yoon-tu told Su Ziyuling carefully. Okay, I'll go tomorrow. Su Ziyuling agreed quickly. The couple turned out the lights and took a rest. Outside the door, Yoon Yan stood barefoot in the dark night. After listening to her parents' conversation, she closed her eyes to hide the overwhelming hatred in her eyes. End of this chapter.